Hi, everybody, wherever you may be. My name is Larry. My call sign is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Welcome back to Ham Radio Live. This is episode 46, part 2 of the California QSO party. You're going to have some fun. This is very different than what we've done before. It's going to be all on the air. So, you folks that love it live, here you go. All right? We are on 20 meters. Just at Grayline. Literally, we're right at the beginning of Grayline, working 20 meters down to California for the QSO party. We're going to be getting into a pileup where people are going to be contacting us back shortly. But it takes a while to, get enough daylight, get enough of the D layer to absorb some ions and the 20 meter frequencies to punch through that and get up to the E and F layer to come back down again in California. So we will continue to call. This is essentially what I'm doing is I'm really just hitting a recorded part of my voice calling a QSO CQ to California. So it's very distorted because of the amount of power going out. It's just the processing gear. It has nothing to do with the radio being bad or anything. But you'll have an idea once I start working the mic live. Overnight, by the way, overnight's been fun. Did some work overnight, had a little fun overnight because, didn't just, do nothing. I mean, you got to do something overnight. I did make some calls overnight, which was fun. I mean, it's one of those things that there's a few contests that come up every year that are kind of fun to do. Okay, Field Day in June, that's sponsored by the American Radio Relay League, is a must. That's a great contest. A lot of fun. Something I'd really recommend for everyone to do. It's fun. Great contest. Kind of easier to work because it's a 24-hour contest only. It doesn't last for 2 days. Okay. So it's a little easier. Let me get you back to the rig cam so you can kind of follow along with what I'm doing here. I'm literally just pressing this button to continue calling CQ to California. It's going to sound distorted because of the power coming out of the transmitter. All right, so distorted coming out of the speaker. I've tried it without doing this, and we'll try it again. I'll see if it'll work better when we've got a YouTube feed live. We'll see how it works. Yeah, still doing it. So you might as well hear the people coming back because, at least I can turn it up and turn it down. It's going to be a little juggling, but we'll get it done. We've done harder things in our lives. Happy Sunday. Yep, indeed. Today is Sunday, October 4th, day 2 of the California QSO party. And this is a big one. This is one of the bigger contests of the year. And really, it's because of just the amount of people that live in California. I currently have, it sounds weird to say this, but on 80 meters, I've got a great signal. I really do. The problem is most people aren't on 80 meters. That's the problem is. And so to work 80, you've got a short window. Maybe an hour, that's about it, but 20 would be the rest of the day. So we're here early. It's going to be a long show. We'll talk about some stuff to kind of keep you company so I don't bore you to death here. I'm going to move myself a little more in the center so I don't look like I'm outside your camera view. And happy Sunday. The key is to make sure that you continue to be on frequency. That's very important here because if you don't do that, what happens is somebody will come in quickly and take part of your frequency or all of it. It doesn't take much. It many times works. It's almost like they don't even ask if the frequency is available. They simply will go right on the frequency and they will just start calling. They won't ask if the frequency is available. They just start calling. And it's
it's very apparent because it comes out of nowhere, and usually there's just no excuse for it other than you're being aggressive and you want to get calls. And there are very aggressive people that do contests, and there are very, very good people too. The majority by far are great people, but you have some people who just are very competitive. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind and realize that, when you get involved with anything that's competitive, some people take it really personally. And, at the end of the day, we're here to have a good time. And, what do you get? You get like a certificate. Okay. It's like getting something in school. You passed. Great. But it's cool, right? So it's bragging rights. That's more than anything what it is. So it is a lot of fun, and a lot of people do it. They really do. I've been pushing actually 20 over on 80 meters into San Francisco. It should be, I'd say within a half hour now, that we should be pretty good into San Francisco now here on 20 meters, which will go all day long. 20, again, is a great daytime frequency during this part of the sunspot cycle. 20 meters helps you to work during the daytime because it's just long enough that it can work the ionosphere and allow you to make calls during the day. 40 is excellent at night, so is 80. It's low enough in frequency that it'll bounce off the F layer of the ionosphere, give you a nice bounce, and make some good calls. 80 meters seems to not quite work as far as 40 for the most part. You can work long on 40, but it's more common to work long on 80. Excuse me. You can work long on 80, but it's more common to work long on 40. Good example of that, was earlier today, overnight. It was kind of like right at the end of the last show, we made a call to George Focus in Hawaii, in Honolulu, and then after the show, stayed up, recorded the QSOs so that I wouldn't have to sit there and keep hitting the mic in front of you. And the next call was to Puerto Rico. And that was pretty cool, right? So, and the Puerto Rico call was on 40 meters. The next 6 were on 80. So, and they were all California calls. So it's typical, you'll find that to be a normal thing. It's just because the way propagation is right now. Now, it doesn't mean you can't make 80-meter calls to Hawaii. It's not super common, but you can do it. It's not impossible. 40 meters, much more possible. 20 as well. You can do 20. Man, you can work the world on 20. You can. If there's enough sunspots. And you have no solar storms. And the planets are lined up. Anyway, there's a lot that goes into it. So where we're at right now in Northwest Oregon, the sun is just about to come up. And when that happens, there's a phenomenon that's called Grayline. Grayline is a really special time because what it allows you to do is it allows you to work really far, typically southeast, right before sunrise, southeast. Same thing with sunset, okay? Before sunset, you'll do pretty well to the southeast. Then opposite the next way out, okay? When you work the other direction, you tend to have a little more when the sun goes down, right? You'll go farther southwest. That's typically propagation. Now, you also can go very good north-south, and both my antennas here do quite well. So grateful for that. That's a good thing. Let me get you back to the rig cam here real quick. We'll see what's going on. Again, we're on 20 meters. Just making sure we're on the correct antenna. Just making sure. It's okay. Nothing wrong making sure. And you can see from the screen, I'll pull this off real quick. You can see that we also were on 80. That's the frequency I was on 80. And that's still booming into the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, down to LA, probably not. So I have you on split screen right now. And it is possible, keep in mind, it is possible that as we approach Grayline, we're going to hit signals that come in, okay? And there's a reason for that. The reason that can happen is because The signals that we couldn't hear that are east of us, say I'm in I'm about 65 miles southwest of Portland, say Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Kansas City, St. Louis, those areas, even to the south of there. Again.
QSO, number 61, Kansas.
Okay, 61 Kansas, what's your call sign? I'm sorry, what's your call sign? No contact. Kilo 7 Hotel November. It's important to say that. And the reason why you do it is, and again, Kansas City, see, east. And the reason for that is because you'll end up with people that will be calling, and sometimes they think that you're maybe in California. They don't realize you're not. And because they've been calling on frequency for a while, they don't maybe realize that, they're not hitting California yet. We do here because we're close. We're much closer than they are in the east. Now, if they have a directional beam, changes everything. A beam headed this direction will definitely reach right now. No question. No question about it. Move you to the rig cam so you can see the rig. This is going to be a longer show, okay? I'm going to forewarn you. If you want to grab yourself, a cup of coffee, a hot chocolate, maybe a little breakfast, we'll be here a little while. Because what we're going to do, what I'm going to try and work here is long enough that we can get into what's called a pileup. Now, a pileup is when you have station after station after station calling you, okay? So literally you'll have one call, you'll finish it, then another, and another. I'd like you to see what it looks like. Again, there's two ways to work contests. You can work contests by hunting or pouncing. Hunting, I believe, and again, I am no expert. I contest for fun a few times a year. It's what I do. However, there is a way you stand frequency and call CQ, and there's a way you go out and find signals, okay? I've done both. I kind of like this way better because I'm not I'm competitive at a lot of stuff, but ham radio is not one of them. I just enjoy it. That's all. So I figure, if I have a good time, then it's been well worth it. But it could take a while. Again, sun is coming up and it's light in the windows, which is good, which means that we should be hitting California pretty close here. Just about probably the next 10 minutes. So it's going to be hitting close, okay? I check on my phone through a web SDR that's in the Bay Area. Once I start to hear the signal, I know I'm getting close. That's what I look for. So let me kind of move over here and take a listen. And I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area right now just to hear where I'm at with it. Just starting to come, just pushed a little bit. In fact, based on what I'm hearing here, we might want to move down 1,500. We're going to move 1,500 down. That's going to be a good move. Just a moment. Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November. This one probably isn't. But I can hear what's going on in the Bay Area. And right now, it's not going to work either. So what you do is you get in with people that have beams, and those folks will call in like they should, right? They've got expensive antennas. They should. But you want to get onto a frequency that people aren't on. So a good idea, if you're going to contest, or you'd like to, is to not go on frequencies that are like that are on even numbers or on fives. So you don't want to go like on, let's say 14250. That would be a bad one because someone will be on that. Okay. You don't want to do stuff like that because it just won't work very well.
Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November.
I'm hearing something close. So we're going to move because it's the right thing to do. Again, I'm not being competitive here to win a contest. I mean, it's nice to do. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy contests. It's fun. You see how well you can do. It's always fun. But it's not like the be-all, end-all, and the world comes to an end if you don't do well, right? What in the heck is that doing there? That's weird. I'm in digital modes, which is odd.
Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Hearing some odd, like digital modes here, way up on 20, which is unique. I'm going to break a cardinal rule, okay?
Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Right now, the cardinal rule I'm breaking is I am on an even number. I'm on 14340, and there's a reason for that, okay?
Checking frequency availability. Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Now I'm checking San Francisco, although if a signal cannot be heard here in the west, it could be heard, in the east, so you never know. Ward Dixon from California. Hey, buddy. You're working your QSO party right now. No, not some DX. Working the California QSO party. We're going to get ourselves into a pileup, hopefully, here. But they'll be working us, I hope. And so basically what we're doing is just getting set up, and now we will just call over and over and over again because the rig will do all the work. And basically all I have to do, I can push buttons if I want to, except for one part of this. And that one part is to simply say, I acknowledge the call, your call sign, and the exchange. The rest I can just push buttons for with this rig, which is kind of cool. But we're right now at the top. And I don't typically go, on zeros because typically zeros are packed with people. Zeros and fives both are usually busy. They're usually packed with contesters because there's contest stations and that's what they do. That's what they do. So I try not to get hyper competitive in this where I'm stepping on somebody, but I promise there will be somebody who will come in and they will start calling CQ. And we will do our best to explain to them that we were here and that, we were calling because we have the same right they do. Now, then the competition comes in, right? Who's going to be right? Sometimes kind of silly. Again, when you win these, you get like a certificate piece of paper. You won. Or you came in a certain number, like certain place, right? That's kind of the way it works. Not bad. It's kind of cool. So I'm fighting two things. I'm fighting, first of all, the neighbor's waterfall pump controller, and I'm fighting any RFI that might be in San Francisco or Los Angeles or any of the large cities in California. Those are some things I'm fighting, but I can't control any of that. I can control where I'm at to listen back. That's about it. Now, in terms of calls, we are only on number 11, not a whole lot, but we didn't start till last night. And to be honest, it sounds awful because we're at the end of RFI. We're right on the edge of an RFI node. Okay, moving back to the rig cam. We will tune again. We will tune yet again. I'll check the web SDR in San Francisco and we'll see if this frequency is available because I don't want to be stepping on somebody. And this is hard to do, so let's see what happens.
Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. So far, it looks good in Northern California, and it sounds good down there. So this could be our spot. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Wow, all of a sudden our ALC just jumped. Okay, so we're good on that. I'm going to retune just to be safe because now all of a sudden we're not retuning. That's interesting. That's an odd phenomenon. All right, well, we will tune again. And keep in mind, again, there are some people who are exceptionally competitive in this, and they will argue, fight, snit, get mad if they don't get their frequency. And so keep in mind, we are not here to do that. We are here to show you what it's like to do this. And it could be a while. Okay? It could be a while to do this.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
There you go. So that's what it sounds like. Okay?
CQ contest, California.
Gives you an idea of what the signal sounds like going out. Back off some gain and I'd rather run off my processing. Sorry, my gain than processing. Processing give you a little punch, but if you use too much, you could be in trouble. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and it doesn't look like it's going to be fixed by the neighbor. No, I tried it. And by the way, while we're at this here, because we got time, we're going to wait. We're going to get ourselves into a pileup because it'll happen. It'll happen. Just be patient. It'll happen. You just got to wait for a little more daylight. Ward, I want to thank you for what you sent. Ward Dixon, W6 WWD down in WWD. Voice is going crazy here. Sorry, guys. Was kind enough to send me a ballad, a noise isolator ballad. Now, what that basically is it's a ferrite core, which is in here, and it's got windings on it, like a toy. And that winding goes around, and it essentially will help to isolate the signal that comes in off the antenna and then down to the radio, okay? But unfortunately, no luck. Yeah, just didn't work. I tried it, but for the life of me, it won't work. So I have reached out to a gentleman who is, from what I understand, one of the best people in the country to deal with ham radio RFI. And my hope is he'll have some answers. I'm sure he will. He seems to be a pretty brilliant guy. So I've shown him pictures of the RFI. I've explained the situation to him. And my hope and prayer is that he'll be able to fix it because I have no confidence anymore that my neighbor will. I've tried everything I could think of. Being nice, right? Doing the nice thing, trying to be kind. Nope. And I think part of it is honestly because he's in an interesting position. You see, his house is between two ham radio operators. What are the chances of that, right? Okay. Gets kind of worse. So what are the chances as well of that ham on one side being a 2-meter guy? He just likes to do 2 meters. That's it. The guy on the other side, which is me, does HF. So I pretty much am on the HF bands all the time. Unfortunately, the RF is really bad. In fact, the guy who came out from Pacific Power and Light here in the Portland area, excuse me one moment, pardon me, from Pacific Power, he came out and said, this is the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen RFI this bad. And, he thinks that this pump controller has a significant problem inside and it could cause a fire. I told my neighbor that. And he just said, well, great.
that'll just burn down my gazebo and my fence, and the insurance company can pay for it. Okay. We've had a house fire here. That's like the scariest thing in the world to think about, is to have a fire, because we've had one and we were blessed to live through it. It is not something you ever want to go through. So please make sure, if you are a ham, make sure and properly ground your equipment. If you'd like to be in ham radio, grounding your equipment is super important. It's like the key to making sure that everything will work fine for you. That's really important, okay? So make sure you do follow grounding rules, and make sure you ground everything correctly. If you're not a ham, you'll learn about that in your ham radio classes. So there you go. Grounding is very, very important. So, and I always listen with one ear out. And the reason I do is because I have an echo that comes out of the processing. It's about an 1/8 to a 1/4 second delay. So what I hear is echoed. I hear myself speak it, and then it comes out of the speaker. No, not a good thing. So I do my best to try and shut that out by keeping one ear out just a little bit. Usually I'll have it like this, so I can hear myself just enough and be able to still look like I'm wearing headphones. But that time, it'll let off a little farther. Anyway, this show is the second part of the California QSO party. Why is this such a big deal? Because, truthfully, California is the most populous state in our country, about 40 million people down there. So there are also a ton of ham radio operators down there as well, okay? And because there's so many in one area, this is a very popular contest every year. It's always the first weekend in October. Always the first. So what you basically do is you continue to call CQ contest, California QSO party, and you wait. And then eventually, once that signal starts to hit down in California, people start picking up on it. The more people pick up on it, the more of a pileup you'll get. Based on what we were doing on 80 meters, which is not a popular frequency to contest on. 80 meters for the most part is great for nets. Lots of guys and gals that do nets will be on 80. And so it's not a real big contest frequency, okay? So your 20 meter band, your 40 meter band, usually they'll stay away from 15 and 17, but it's just one of those things. So yeah, that's the way it goes. Boyd, welcome to the show. Kilo Oscar 4, Germany, Japan, Oscar. Hey, North Carolina in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for being here today. Good to see you guys here. It's an honor to be here. We're doing contesting. It's the California QSO party. We live about 250 miles north of the California border. And thankfully, I'm blessed that my antennas work really well down there. So we just have to wait for enough daylight so 20 meters will work. Let me get you back on the rig cam so you can see what's going on. Another rig cam back here. Hey, look at that. I gotta move this up a little bit so you can see the rig better. There you go. And I apologize for this. This is the cord actually for the other cams. So move that up so you don't have to see that. And that gives you a better view of the rig. So this is the Yaesu 101 MP. It's the 200 watt version. And that's a blown up version of the screen. And essentially I'm just calling CQ based on the record function that's on the radio, because that way I don't have to keep on grabbing a hold of the microphone and calling CQ. You can see outside we have daylight, but not quite enough yet for 20 meters to be hot. It's going to get there. It's going to get there. Little bit of distortion coming on the processing gear, and that's because of the 200 watt transmitter. If I knock this down to 100, it will help, but I'd rather get to 200 watts, okay? And now I look like I've got a giant thing in front of my face. I'm going to leave it here for now. If we move to that camera, I'll lift it up. Sound good? All right, so we may be here a while. We're going to get into a pile up. I'd like you guys to kind of see what it looks like, how you work a pile up if you're in one, and you're on the TX side of it. We've all been on the other side, right? You hear that DX station? Everybody wants to work it, right? it's Italy or it's Ireland or someplace hard to work, and everybody's calling, and you're trying to call. Well, what we're going to try and do is be one of those folks that help be that station that people call in on. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see. It's easier to do this if you're doing Field Day or DX Worldwide, but we're close enough to California that we should be able to make it work. Get you back to the rig. Here we go. So essentially what I'm doing is I continue to press one of three buttons. I've set 1, 2, and 5 for DX calls. CQ calls. And they're set up for this particular contest. So they'll say California QSO Party. Number 3 is basically a generic answer. Number 4 is a generic answer. Just listen, hold on. Nope. I'm not hearing anything there. Not hearing anything there, so.
CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7
Sounds
Hotel
like
November
me.
contest.
Sounds like me. Oh, well. So, it's an easier way than busting your voice a bunch of times. It's just a nice feature that most new rigs have today. Most of the newer rigs have recorders built in. So take advantage of them, okay? Again, we could get in a situation where somebody is, already on frequency. And then the reason they'd be on frequency is because, to be honest, they were there. They're in the east. They've been calling for a while. And all of a sudden, this signal comes out of nowhere from Oregon. Well, it's because they've been calling too. Who wins in that circumstance? The answer is, honestly, both are supposed to bow down to the other, meaning to let the other one have it. So, you're basically supposed to vacate the frequency according to proper practice, but sometimes that doesn't work that way because people will be very serious, man. They got contest station, man. No, they won't let go no matter what. They could have been there for 10 minutes. You've been there for an hour, hour and a half. Nope. Then who wins? It's nasty. Let's bring out the DNR. Let me get you back to the rig. Just break out, just going to bump out all the DNR. And continue to call and call and call until we are hitting California, and it will hit Southern California most likely before Northern California. Just because the way Skip works. And that sounds weird to folks. That you'd think closer, you would get closer first, right? But it just depends on how the skip is today. It's quite possible it could go to Southern California before Northern California opens up, or it could be that Northern California doesn't open up at all because it skips over. All right, because I know right now at 80 meters we're booming. We're 20 over in Northern California, so. I'm not sure where we are right now with it, but we'll figure it out. Again, we're at the top of 20 meters. Might as well change my CQ call to this one now.
CQ contest, California.
They're all, these two are long. I've set 2 and 5 to be longer so that the waterfall will show more and people will pick up the signal. Because so many people use scopes to find signals. So they look on the screen, they see a signal, and they immediately go for it, right? That's why the longer QSO. Otherwise, what I would do is I simply would use this one here, number 1. Listen to this one.
CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
7 seconds. This one here,
CQ contest, California QSO Party.
I should have
Kilo
listened for a
7
moment there.
Hotel
This one here
November,
is about
Kilowatt
20.
7 Hotel November. CQ
Let's
contest,
see.
California only. California QSO
Just a little under
Party,
20
Kilo
seconds, yeah.
7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
Good question by Ward in California. Am I on lower side? No. Nope. I'm on upper side. It could look like that, and the reason why it would look like that is because you look at the VFO right here. This one here is for 80 meters. This one over here is for 40, way over here. But we move the camera closer to it so you can see it better. So that's the VFO I'm on right now. This one here was one I was on earlier. So we are on 40. In fact, what I'll do, because it can be confusing looking at the screen like this. Whoops.
Copy that.
No. Wrong. There we
CQ
go.
contest,
All right,
CQ
so
contest,
what we'll do
California
is we're going to
QSO
just
Party,
go to
Kilo
a
7
different
Hotel
screen. Once this
November,
clears
Kilo
out,
7
we'll go
Hotel
to
November,
the mono
CQ
screen just
contest,
because it's easier to
California
follow, I
QSO
think,
Party,
for folks.
Kilo 7 Hotel
I usually have
November,
that on the screen to
contest.
begin with. I'm not so much into that particular one. There we go. Well, I kind of, yeah, that's not a bad one. That's not too bad. Okay. All right. Never mind. Again, what we have next door is tough because the neighbor's waterfall pump is awful, right? I can bump up the amps, and the reason I would do that is simply to find signals. It's the only reason I do that. But even at 2, you see where I'm at.
CQ contest,
So
CQ
we'll
contest,
just continue to
California
call
QSO Party, Kilo
and
7 Hotel November,
make sure
Kilo
we're good.
7 Hotel
What I
November,
do with this
CQ
here
contest, California
is I'll
QSO
constantly look at
Party,
the ALC up
Kilo
here.
7 Hotel November,
Let me get up there a
contest.
little higher if we can. Oops, did not raise that up. I'll look at the ALC right here just to make sure that I'm at the edge of the white.
CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ
Still a little
contest,
hot.
California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
So that's the proper way to run your ALC. And I'll run that right to the edge of the white. That's what I worry about with the second meter is always ALC.
CQ
I'm not a
contest,
big
CQ
SWR
contest,
person. I already know what that
California
is
QSO
from my other
Party, Kilo
meters,
7
but
Hotel
that
November,
to me is
Kilo
important off the
7
rig. I want to see
Hotel
the automatic
November,
level control.
CQ contest, California QSO Party,
Anything in the
Kilo
blue
7 Hotel
here
November,
literally
contest.
is splattering. So it means you're over modulating once you get in the blue, and the farther you get, the worse your signal sounds. It can sound very distortive if you're not real careful with it. So
CQ contest,
we're just trying to get to the point
contest,
where we can be heard in
California
Northern
QSO Party,
California or
Kilo
Southern
7
California.
Hotel November,
And right now,
Kilo
I'm
7
not
Hotel
hearing
November,
much
CQ
yet
contest,
in North.
California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
Still nothing in Northern California.
CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California only.
And I knew
California
we'd be
QSO
close.
Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November.
It would, I shouldn't say
Kilo
that
7
close. I'm sorry.
Hotel November,
I
contest.
knew it would be a while before they start hearing us down there because 80 was really hot. 40 was barely hearable, which means that 20's got a ways to go. As I was saying, probably an hour once we started this, but I didn't want to lose the
frequency. Now I certainly don't remember his frequency. We're way at the top of 40 meters. It's 20 meters now, excuse me, 20 meters.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
There you go. So the radio will continue to do that. I have 3 outgoing messages. 1 is short, 2 and 5 are both long. So that's more to get. Maybe just a little trace of waterfall somewhere like in Southern California right now. It's hard to say. So we just do the best we can.
CQ contest,
See?
California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
So what I'm looking for here is and I'm watching my meters just to see how much output that I'm getting out, because that's important. I want to make sure I'm getting out quite strong. Good question by Ward. Yep, Ward, good to see you, man. This is going to be a long one, so yeah, this is going to be one you fast forward quite a bit. I'm afraid till we get to that pile up, because it's such a popular contest. You've got to get a spot, though. If you don't, you won't. It's one of those tough ones, so there you go.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
Just messing with a couple of things here that just want to check my output power, make sure I'm good.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
Okay. All right, good. So we're peaking right about 130 watts at this point. And that might be confusing to folks that understand this is a 200 watt radio.
CQ contest,
well,
California QSO party,
the reason for that is because when you actually know we're peaking about, about 130.
Kilo 7 Hotel November, contest.
But the reason why we are the reason why we are is because when you have any radio or amplifier, okay, it will peak at its top transmit power. That's just how it works. So you're going to peak at a certain output power, and that's it. So once you peak, then you're good, but it does give you an idea of how much you are putting out at your peak. So right now, out of the 200 watts, we're getting 120, which means we've got an SWR issue there, to be honest.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November.
See, this is being used last night on one of the QSOs I had where the gentleman started talking and then all of a sudden stopped and then he responded back with, what's your call sign? Because he knew that, he was transmitting, he was sending a signal out. So you want to make sure that when you're doing that, you are paying attention to what's going on. And, see, now someone's close. And you see, that's what happens in contests a lot. You'll have somebody who will just come right on frequency and start calling, and you have to be very cautious of that. There's a reason why whenever I'm doing anything with contesting, I run pretty narrow on my passband. I just do.
Right now we're at 2,400. Whoops. Whoa. Should be 24. I usually run 24 for a reason because it's narrower than most transmit signals, but it will cut back on some of the intrusion of frequency from the side of the frequency, either from below or above. So I typically be around 24. Now, they sell an optional 1.2 kilohertz filter, and they say it's for contesters. This is what 1.2 sounds like. I couldn't imagine trying to pick up a signal like that. I just couldn't. Now, granted, we don't have a signal right now there, but at the same time, oh boy, that's pretty narrow to be able to hear and completely understand unarticulated voice. Very narrow.
California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
There you go. So contesting really is about repetition, constantly doing the same thing until you get that file up.
Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
That's the short one.
CQ contest.
This one is just a little shorter than number 2 by about a second, maybe a second and a half, but not much. It's very close. You get 20 seconds of recorded QSO audio in each one of these. Yaesu provides you with 20 seconds. On the ICOM rigs, I believe it's 90 seconds. So you can make a long CQ call out of that. No question. Go to my other long one.
California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California only, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
And, you know, for me personally, the reason why I'm going so long here is because I believe we will start a pilot. We will, because usually the signal is really strong down there. So my hope is we'll be pounding pretty hard with signals. So we'll try again, and I might go back to 80 just to see how 80 is still doing. 80 should be about dead now down there, but we'll see.
CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California only, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
Okay, nothing still out of San Francisco.
CQ contest, California QSO Party.
So we'll try 80. Let's see what 80 sounds like. Because we were on 80, and 80 was cruising. I mean, we had a booming signal in Northern California on 80 meters. Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November. Still booming. Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November. We'll give it a shot because the signal's still strong. I'll let you hear what it sounds like. I typically check my phone, right? Not hard to do. Just grab a web SDR. Here's the signal coming back from Northern California right now in the San Francisco Bay Area.
CQ contest, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Okay, we've pressed something different here.
Contest, California only, California QSO Party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
Or there's no signal. but there was. Hang on. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. See, strong signal there. Oh, I see the problem. Here we go. All right. Now, this will give you an idea how strong we are. This is just off of the phone. So you're only going to hear what's coming in off the SDR, okay? So here comes the signal out, and you'll hear it the way it sounds in California. All right, so that's coming in. We'll take the next look. We'll see. I hear, but you're not hearing, so make sure you both hear. We both hear. We're both happy. Okay. So we were about 20 over before.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
And that's a good example of when signals fade because of daytime. Now, the bad thing is when you hear a signal start to fade, you know you need to move, right? But because you've got that strong of a signal, still want to stay where you're at. And I'm pushing, actually right now, my peak envelope power is nearly 200 watts. So real solid into San Francisco. Again, the problem is that many contesters won't use 80. They won't. They'll stay on 40, but we'll see. We'll see.
Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
All right. And keep in mind, one of the things that you have to be careful of, if you hear a response here, but not on the radio, that's not a legal QSO. It's not a legal QSO. There'll be people who will claim it because they heard it on their phone, but really, I mean, unless your radio hears it, it's not a legal QSO. It isn't, because how do we make QSOs before we had SDRs that we could pick up on the phone or on the internet or on our radios? That made them legal. So this is nice to hear how your signal sounds, but it's not a legal QSO. But you will have people that do that, and that's unfortunate. So here's 80. We're post sunrise now. Okay. I'll make sure nobody answers. We'll go to 40. There'll be a lot of activity on 40. There'll be a ton right now. There's a reason we went to 20. Because there'll be so much activity on 40. Looks like there's an opening about 7168. Let's take a look so we can grab it. We'll tune up, move you to the rig cam. Let's see what it sounds like on 40 meters now in California. We get to the same frequency. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. So you can't hear it. And that is most likely because we're skipping right over the top of it. We're not hitting San Francisco. We're hitting most likely Southern California.
Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Okay, so right now, you're keep in mind, 40 meters is a band that will work. It'll work during the day. It'll work at night. Okay, 40 is great in that respect. We have found a spot. We're kind of on the edge of an RFI node from next door. Kind of on the edge. Like we're barely. I'll show you real quick. We'll tune up. And again, this is one of those things that you can't control. I'm working on trying to find a solution to work around this because you see, all of this I cannot control. All of these long lines, those are from my neighbor's house. And it's one of those things you can't control. So we'll be able to call now. We've checked frequency. We're good. Alright. So right now, most likely into Southern California. 80 will do Northern California. Keep in mind, 80 works shorter than 40. 40 will work longer, meaning longer distance. Skip is longer on 40. Okay, so that's really the difference. If you work that way, you know that your skip probably is going to hit Southern California, which is about 800 to 900 miles away, 1,000 miles away. But Northern California, it won't because it's too close still. Okay, 40 will hit it. We also have an opportunity to reach out farther as well to places like Hawaii, stuff like that. So it is really a matter of a lot of patience, a lot of determination, and you have to give contesters a ton of credit because they have to be dedicated. They have to like doing it. They have to be able to sit for a long time, which is something I have a hard time doing. And they have to like what they're doing, because it does get repetitive quick. I don't care how long you do it. It could be this short. That quick. Okay, that's 7 seconds. Or it could be longer. You can go into a long one to try and get a waterfall down the screen, so people can see it. Again, we're trying to make sure we're hitting Southern California, where there's about 25 million, or not 25, about 20, 22 million people. We're trying to reach that area right now. Because California is so long from where we are, we're kind of working long right now. Short would be 80 meters. That would be the Bay Area, Sacramento, Fresno, most likely, Stockton, Modesto. Once you get Fresno south, probably not so much. Somebody tuning up on frequency. See what I mean? And it could be that they don't hear us too. That's very possible. It's very possible. So I don't want to make it come across as though they're trying to do something tricky or sneaky, because that's not what's probably happening. So again, just a matter of continuing to make the call. And when I hear somebody tuning up an amplifier, like that noise, that high-pitched noise we just heard, was an amplifier being tuned. Okay? So my hope is by sending out 2 20-second calls back to back, that you realize, hey, that signal's taken. Again, we're at 7.169 megahertz right now on 40 meters. Just trying to work the California QSO party. And hey, if we can't get into a pileup, it's not our day. That's just how it works.
Right now, 20 is not looking too good. I haven't looked at the conditions today, and I should do that. Let me grab a quick look at the conditions. Yeah, okay. 40 is good. 80 is good day. You know, we could just focus on 80 where we know we've got a booming signal in Northern California. Let's try that. Let's try and see what we can do there. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. And there's a couple reasons for that. Let me explain why I'm using this strategy, why I'm thinking it. And 80's a bit unconventional to use because if I go up on 40, there's a ton of people up there. If I go to 20, there's a ton of people up there. But if I call here on 80, I've got a ton of power here. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. So again, 80 doesn't get used a lot for contesting, and for the most part, the reason it doesn't is because it's mostly used for nets. However, the rules in this contest say that 80 is available. So, checking the rules, it's not off limits. So, because we have a great signal there, we'll call because we know the signal's strong. And I'll show you real quick in a moment something else. We'll just make sure we're still solid there.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, contact.
You see, very, very solid. So if you hear a response off the SDR, but you don't hear a response off your rig, no go. You just can't do it.
CQ contest, California
Again, take a look at the phone. You'll get an idea. Whoop, that's not going to help you, is it? Let me move it here so you can actually see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to an S8, S9. So that's my strongest signal right now into the Bay Area. So here you go. Just a shadow there you can see now. It's not super strong, but what about S7, S8? That's decent. That can be heard very well. Now, it's not going to light up people's waterfalls down there, but it will be heard. Now, the other reason why I'm doing this is right here. Let me kind of take a look and show you this real quick. So, this was my Christmas present this year. I was so excited to get this. I was like a little kid. I was so thrilled to get this. This is a Daiwa 2 kilowatt meter. Basically tells me what my power out is. So I'll go ahead and press this 20-second QSO message. Take a look at the meter. You'll be able to see it. You see, it's almost pegged at 200 watts. So it's putting out to the tower pretty much close to 200 watts, which is full power. That's the most power I'm putting out on either 80, 40, or 20 at this point. So to Northern California, which would be from probably Redding south to about Fresno, good signal, still working. And if we can't get any farther, we'll just say we had fun and we got to spend some time together, right? Right. This is honestly a radio I'm so honored, very honored to own. And I don't, this is the first radio I've ever had that I didn't take for granted. Like, I knew the moment I had it that this was the right radio and it was special, and it was almost sold due to some issues, but It wasn't, thank God.
CQ contest. CQ contest.
So 200 watts. We are going in Northern California right now. We're hitting the Bay Area. We're hitting Sacramento. We're hitting Modesto, Stockton, Fresno, Lodi. We're hitting the Gold Country. You know, we're hitting Santa Rosa. A lot of people there. But the issue, not a lot of people look to 80 meters to work contests. They just don't. And it's not anything wrong. It's just that that's typically where you find nets. So there you go. Out of our control sometimes. We'll see how it goes, right? You see why contesters have to have such patience now? I mean, seriously. So right now at 80, we know we're reaching the Bay Area. We know we're strong into the Bay Area. Okay. Now on 40, I don't have a Los Angeles SDR here on the web that I can look at, so I don't know. But if I did, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be heard on 40. I do have one I can pick up out of Sedona, Arizona. Again, please. No, there's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing there. And you can always tell when there's something going on there, if there is or not. And that's just simply not a signal, so we're good. I'll listen just to verify. But no, I think we're good. So this is what ham radio really is. This gives you a good idea. It's not always about making contacts. It really isn't. Unless you're part of a really big contest team, right? Where you got a ton of folks who are, you got great equipment, directional beam antennas, amplifiers. You can steer your signal. Most of us use wire dipoles and verticals. It's what we use. So it's not about making contacts all the time. Sometimes you just don't. That's what ham radio really is. That's why when you get those wonderful signals from far away, they're so special because you've earned them. You really have. All right. So let me do this. We'll make one more call in the Bay Area here on 80. And then we're going to try and move to Sedona. And we'll see if maybe we can be heard there on 40. Still S8 in the Bay Area.
CQ contest, California QSO party.
So I'm just making another call around 40.
November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November contest.
Let's see if we're being heard in Utah on the same frequency. I'm just curious. Now I want to know. Now it's personal. I've done this too long. Let's see. All right, so now we are on the same frequency out of Utah, and we're going to see if we can be heard there. Same signal. Let's find out.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Yeah.
Contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November contest.
That's great. Yeah. So we're being heard into Utah on 80. It's about the same distance as we would be to the Bay Area, so we're solid. That's good. Let me see if we can be heard all the way into Arizona. That would be a good, that let us know if we could be heard that far.
CQ contest, California QSO party, Kilo 7 Hotel November.
I'm trying to do this before my phone dies. There we go. And what I'm doing, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing, is I'm right now typing in the same frequency that we're on right now from Sedona, Arizona, because that's going to tell me if we're being heard there. If we're being heard there, then certainly we should be.
CQ contest, California QSO party.
Hold on.
Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November. CQ contest, California QSO party.
Oh, okay, hold on. I was like thinking, oh man, we're doing a bad thing here. We're off over somebody. Okay, let's hear it again from the Bay. From Sedona. Let's see if it comes in.
CQ contest, California QSO party. Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November. CQ contest, California QSO.
So that tells you right there.
Kilo 7 Hotel
Okay,
November.
will not work. Now, let's try 40. We'll wait to make sure we don't get an answer. All right, we'll go back. Is this frequency available, please? Kilo 7 Hotel November. Check real quick. And we can use the frequency available call just to check even if it could be heard in Arizona. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Yep. Last call, is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Okay, so to Sedona, Arizona, so far no. We will tune up. Let's take a tune up. We'll take a look and see if we can be certain we can be heard there. That will give us an idea if LA can hear us. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Nope. And that could be that we're skipping over. It could be that we're just missing it. And now 14,343 where we were is taken. Upper side. We can go to 47, but somebody's there. Now we could go here, but then we're dealing with the RFI next door. We gotta leave a cushion. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. And we'll tune up just to be sure. It doesn't look as though we're going to make contact here based on conditions. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Yeah, that's it. So right now, this is a great lesson actually for new hams. It's a great lesson. Look, you can interpret lots of things in radio.
like you do life, okay? You'd think failure, right? Okay, no calls, didn't make any calls. No, that's not true. I made some calls, did make some great calls. Hawaii, Puerto Rico, many calls to California, so wasn't a loss. But it does teach you a little bit about the way propagation is working right now. That's today, currently, right now. And things change. It could change in an hour, could change in 15 minutes, it could change in a day. Okay. Sometimes things just work better on certain frequencies than other ones. All right. So for us right now, going into the Bay Area, we can do it pretty strongly on 80 meters. Now, that can't be heard roughly 1,000 miles away on 80. So check 40. 40 is not being heard. Then you go to 20 meters. That's not being heard. So conditions right now are not the greatest. They're fair to fair. That's really the honest truth. They're fair to fair. I'd love to tell you something different, but it gives you a good idea, okay? 80 meters, typically, you don't work super long distance on. 40, which is 7 megahertz, 7.15 to 7.35, you do. Or 7.3, I mean, you do. You can work really long distance on 40, tremendous distance. Same thing with 20 once the sunspots come up. And this is a good example. We could be heard at S7, S8 into the San Francisco Bay Area, actually south of there, Half Moon Bay. But we can't be heard down in LA or 1,000 miles away, right? We could be heard right about the same distance to the east in Utah, same frequency, but we can't be heard farther. That's 80 meters. It's the way it works. You go to 40. We could be skipping over too. That's very possible. 20 could be skipping over as well, because here's why I'm saying this. As I've been talking to you, I've been paying attention as well to what the screen says to me. And I don't usually read screens. I'm a person that tunes if everyone listens, but this is a lot of signal. It looks like the span is way too tight. Yeah, it's way too tight. So this will give you an idea of all the signals that are out there. Look. Now, these here, I know, are the neighbor's pump.
California, W0 Bravo Hotel, Whiskey 0 Bravo Hotel in Kansas, looking for California.
See? And that's what they're doing. They're just looking for California.
CQ anyone in California, W0 Bravo Hotel, Whiskey 0 Bravo Hotel in Kansas, looking for California.
Most likely he has a directional beam, and he's making calls off of his beam facing California.
California, Kilo 9, Charlie Tango.
See?
CQ California, QSO party. Anybody in California? This is K9CT, Kilo 9, Charlie Tango. CQ California, Kilo 9, Charlie Tango.
So the whole idea here, and